All right, check the mic. We are live with our instant reaction for Thursday Night Football. A shocker, Sam. New York Giants 34, Eagles 17. The Giants get their second win of the season. Eagles lose for the second time in 4 days. What are your thoughts coming out of this one?
Yeah, and how they lost. I mean, I was telling you that after the first two drives, one from each team, I was going to text you and be like, the Eagles are losing this game. And it's exactly how it went. Look, you've got to at least acknowledge that no Jalen Carter in the game. They lost Quinyon Mitchell to a hamstring injury pretty early as well. So you can argue that two of their best players total, arguably their best two players on defense, two of the three, if you count Zach Bond in there, were not on the field. So that's definitely going to make an impact to that defense. But focus on the other side and say, look, that was by far the best that Jackson Dart has looked at quarterback. The numbers are not going to be amazing, 195 passing yards, 1 touchdown. But like 3 of his best passes fell incomplete, including 2 in the hands or like perfect ball location in the end zone. I mean, that 1 touchdown could have been 3 touchdowns without anything different from Jackson Dart's point of view happening, with just receivers coming up with the ball or with pass interference not happening. And you have the rushing yardage that he put up there as well. I mean, he was absolutely balling today.
Dart was fantastic. Let's start with that. 34-17. Giants offense was good right from the get-go. 15-yard scramble for Jackson Dart. Put Zach Bond in a blender in the open field. And, man, there's something about Dart's scrambling ability. And I know, listen, 2 weeks ago, look, we just tell it like it is, right? 2 weeks ago, he was not good throwing from the pocket. He was not good accuracy-wise or footwork-wise. I thought last week he got better against the Saints. He had a bad play in there where just straight up dropped a pass. Another one kind of threw it into coverage and was better as a passer. But in this game, the passes you mentioned, and the scrambling's always been good. Like, as far as the 3 games go, the 3 starts, like his running has been good. But man, there's a feel to his scrambling ability. There is a vision. I want to, dare I say, Mahomesian in how he's just got a feel for, being a step quicker than everybody and vision and getting to the open field. Like he ran right by Zach Bond, all-pro linebacker, like it was nothing for a 15-yard touchdown. Really impressive running ability from Dart. But tonight, he added downfield throws and accuracy that didn't even show up in the box score. Some of them did, obviously, but it was really impressive from Jackson Dart.
I mean, I imagine, I haven't, there's no way of looking at this right now, but I imagine his PFF grade is going to be pretty spectacular because, as I said, 3 of his best passes were not caught. He was also absolutely money on third downs. I mean, the Giants as a whole were 11 of 16 on third down, and a bunch of those were Jackson Dart finding places to go with the football and delivering them exactly where it needed to be. Yeah, look, first start, I don't think he was particularly good at all, particularly as a passer. Second start was somewhere in the middle. This was spectacular.
Hear me really quick.
Excellent.
Hear me really quick, Magnus, because you are a member. I have to respond immediately. I compared the scrambling ability, the scrambling feel to Mahomes, not the whole deal, not the whole thing. The feel that Mahomes has, being 1 step better than the defense and having great vision and
I don't think it's
8
even
yards where it looks impossible.
Yeah.
Mahomesian type of scrambler is what I'm saying.
It's not even necessarily the feel for it. It's that somehow it always looks like he should be getting tackled. Like Mahomes takes off, and it's like, why is he not getting tracked down by guys that run 0.3 of a second faster in the 40 than he is? Yeah. Jackson Dart's the same thing. I reran that touchdown like half a dozen to 10 times, trying to work out how he made Zach Bond barely move and just went straight by him. It's like he just turned to his right and ran in a straight line. It's like, I don't understand. And yet it happens time after time after time. And this is why you're like, why do the Giants think that he's got this Tim Tebow, Cam Newton ability to be like the foundation of a rushing attack? Because evidently, I mean, it works. Now the risk is he's got that Daniel Jones lemming self-preservation, instinct where he's taken so many hits and sent himself to the blue medical tent in this game. Like, I mean, that's playing with fire for him, but you can't deny the effectiveness he's had as a rusher so far.
I want to talk about that in a minute as well. The fact that Dart went out for a second with the got tested for a concussion. Then you have Cam Scataboo.
Yeah.
And here's the deal: if we go back, not to bring back the Tebow comp, but when you're going to have a quarterback, Dart had officially 13 carries. It was really 10 before the kneels. When you're going to have a quarterback run, say 8 to 12 times a game, like Jalen Hurts has done a lot for the Eagles, then you have the Scataboo battering ram. And the way he played 2 weeks ago against the Chargers, last week they had the turnovers. It was kind of a weird game against the Saints. This is going to be a tough style to beat. I don't know if Dart's going to throw the ball as effectively as he did tonight. By the way, throw into Lil Jordan Humphrey, 4 catches for 55. Like, that's the other impressive thing. If we had any other starting quarterback, we'd say, poor quarterback. Only he's throwing to Lil Jordan Humphrey. He's down to receivers 3, 4, and 18, and Dart's making it work. But when you shorten the game the way the Giants have 2 out of the last 3 weeks with Jackson Dart, there's something there. And that's what worked for, that's what's worked for run-heavy quarterbacks before. You shorten the game, you trust the defense. So then you have the Scataboo battering ram in there with 3 touchdowns and what he brings to the table. Like, something's brewing here with the Giants, and it all came good in this division game against the Eagles, and they were touchdown underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you've got, I mean, Cam Scataboo is fantastic. He's so much fun to watch. He brings that energy. People gravitate towards him in games, like whether it's, and I'm not even talking about just Giants players. Like, he's midway through the first quarter and Jordan Davis is like dapping him up in the huddle, being like, dude, later in the game, he drives Jordan Davis like 3 or 4 yards backwards. It's a 350-pound nose tackle who's there specifically to be a brick wall and not move backwards. And Scataboo just like lowers his shoulder and plows into him and drives forward. That dude is awesome. He's like a Tasmanian devil. If you pair him with Jackson Dart's running ability based off what we've seen so far, you've got something to work from. But what turns that from, this is intriguing, into you just hung 34 on the Eagles is suddenly Jackson Dart goes out there and is pinpoint, laser accurate in terms of a passer. As you said, throwing to guys like Little Jordan Humphrey and, Wan'Dale Robinson, and not Malik Neighbors and the guys that he's supposed to be throwing to.
So look, I don't know where it ends. And, you and I are both analytical by nature, given our history and how we just look at the game. Maybe me a little bit more than you, but still analytical. But
how dare you?
That's not a knock. I'm just saying I lean on it more than you probably. It's a description, man. But leadership qualities and a lot of the stuff, some of the touchy-feely stuff that comes with, look at the way Brian Daboll looking longingly into Jackson Dart's eyes. I think there's an element of, I was 3 games away from getting fired, and here we are 2-1 since you're the starter. And there's something there, man. Like, I don't know where it ends up. But Giants fans were really optimistic after that first win a couple of weeks ago. I was a little cautious. Yeah, there was some turnovers. There's some bounces. What do you make of like the leadership? Because you have Devin Singletary a minute ago over here turning a 4-yard gain into 10 as well. He's running hard. Like, the effect that Dart and Scat are having on the entire team right now.
Yeah. First of all, shout out there to Gustavo for being a new member to the channel. Big thank you to him. There's hope when you have a rookie who shows something, right? There's an immediate hope in a building. Russell Wilson, there's no hope there. Like, this is, right? The Giants know they're going nowhere with Russell Wilson. The Browns knew they were going nowhere with Joe Flacco. It's not, you're not getting excited. And as soon as a rookie comes in and shows you anything, suddenly you've got an air of excitement around the building again. Hey, look, this kid's got something. We could go somewhere. It's all good, right? Now, the question becomes, we just saw a 3-week progression that looks like Josh Allen's 3-year career arc in 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
Like, and obviously it's a broadcast. They deal in hyperbole and storylines. They're acting like this is him. This is his growth curve. He's just arrived, right? We didn't think it would be this quick. Well, I mean, the chances are it isn't, right? Like, this is unlikely to be. It just took him 3 weeks to get his feet wet, and now he's an absolute stone cold baller, right? The chances are this was just a spectacular game from Jackson Dart in a primetime situation against the defending Super Bowl champions in the division. Like, these are all good things. but it's probably not his baseline. But importantly, like it shows you his ceiling, and his ceiling is really, really high based off this one game.
Yeah, I agree. And then you add in the defensive line and what they're able to do, even though it wasn't a pressure-heavy game or anything from the Giants, their defense played really well. They got that big interception, Cardell Flott, to just thwart the comeback for the Eagles. So I wanted to spend a lot of time on the Giants. Obviously, they're going to be the story. Giants fans are probably joining us for the first time in a while. Some optimism, something to be excited about, and they should. I think the defense is playing pretty good football these last few weeks. In addition to that, right? So that's the other piece of this. If you're a believer in leadership and rallying the team and whatever it is, like there's something there. I think over these last few weeks where the whole team is playing better football, playing inspired, and even though it didn't work against the Saints, there was quirky turnovers. This was an emphatic win against the Eagles. On the Eagles side or the Philadelphia side, Sam. The Phillies lost in extra innings. Tough one. Little PFP. Some PFP issues for the Phillies. That's pitcher's fielding practice. First thing, it's what you do in spring training. So the Phillies lose, and then the Eagles get whooped up on. And I'm just going to point out, they get up 17-13 after running 4 straight tush pushes. 4 straight rugby plays. After that point, they got outscored 21-0. 21-0 after the 4 straight tush pushes. Just saying. What's up with the Eagles, man?
It did feel like that was just trolling the league at this point. Like, we're going to run 4 straight plays, from what was it, 3rd and 3, and then go to 4th and 1, and then convert, and then we're going to score the touchdown here. Like, we're basically daring you to ban the play at this point. But then the funny thing is, the Giants come back later on. They just run a regular quarterback sneak, and you're like, what's the difference? Like, who cares?
It still works 85% of the time, and the push is maybe 92%, 93.
Right.
It's better, but like the QB sneak package is still very good.
Exactly. Like, and the Eagles are already showing all the various little, wrinkles they have off the tush push. Look, if you ban the tush push tomorrow, they're just going to still run a quarterback sneak, be 80% effective with that, and still have those, lateral passes off the back of it. Anyway, it's not achieving anything. It's just making everyone it's making all these reactionary people happy, right? It's ugly. You hate it. Rugby. Ban it, right? Okay, fine. We haven't actually changed anything. They're still going to do exactly the same stuff. There's just not going to be somebody pushing at the same time. But yeah, they got that going. They were in the game, and then their offense did the same thing it's done every single game this year, which is it just stalls out and stops working. And they started the second half, was it 4 straight drives where they went punt or basically went nowhere?
Yes.
Every game this year, it's happened, whether it's the first half, the second half, there have been huge sways of time where everything just stops working. They can't run the ball. Jalen Hurts stops seeing everything. They stop targeting their 3 effective receivers, and they go nowhere.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe, because even when they were, I didn't feel this way last year. I think I felt it more in 2023. In 2000, we referenced this a lot because it was such an anomaly 2 years ago. The Eagles were 10-1 after beating every good team in the league. Because the story that year was not just the collapse, but that they beat the they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bills, they beat the Cowboys, they beat every good team. They had this 5-game stretch where they beat every good team, and then it all fell apart. And for whatever reason, it's like Jalen Hurts is the one consistent piece here. I know Eagles fans were yelling about Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator 2 years ago, Kevin Petula, the offensive coordinator now, and you had a Kellen Moore year in the middle that they won a Super Bowl, right? So you had Kellen Moore, you had Shane Steichen as OCs, and things worked out well. So he's 4 OCs in 4 years. But across 4 different offensive coordinators, the Jalen Hurts-led offense hits these lulls of just maddening inconsistency.
Yeah.
Just complete inconsistency. And so I don't even know how to describe it. Like, Hurts I think he's a very good NFL quarterback with quirky splits because he's very good at the push stuff. He's a good runner. I think he's a pretty good passer, but it never looks comfortable. Like, it never looks, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It looks like one of their biggest passes was a seam route to Dallas Goedert that it looks like he threw 20 miles an hour and Goddard just stopped and caught it. Like, it just doesn't look right and make sense. and sometimes it works. Like Jalen Hurts had a lot of success, and then other times they just get they go through these lulls where there's no rhythm whatsoever. And I feel like I've said this a million times over the last 4 years across 4 different offensive coordinators for Jalen Hurts, and they're in it right now. Where every single game there's a half of football where they can't do anything offensively.
It rarely looks sort of nuanced the way, a lot of other quarterbacks have. Like, even when it's working well, it tends to be one-on-one ISO routes on the outside. And it's just like heave a deep ball to AJ Brown early in the game, heave a deep ball to Devontae Smith or to Dallas Goedert. And if they're open, all things are good. Even if they're not, those guys are good enough players to make good things work. But that's an inherently pretty low percentage style of offense. And sometimes it just seems to hit these periods where nothing's going. I mean, all the good things we said about Jackson Dart in this game, the opposite is true for Jalen Hurts. You can, several massive negative plays. Obviously, the interception is bad. The miss of Devontae Smith on the deep shot, that could have been an 84-yard, I think, touchdown if he hits him in stride. And that ball, that's a massive momentum swing. Jackson Dart and the Giants were money on third downs. Philadelphia was 1 for 9 on third downs. So all of the positives for Jackson Dart were equally negative for Jalen Hurts in this game.
So it's going to sound, I don't even want to bring up this awful take that I'm about to bring, but because they've lost 2 games in the last calendar year, man. Like, the Eagles are a very good football team, or they have been a very good football team.
Also in the last 4 days.
Yeah, 2 in the last 4 days, I know. And 2 in the last calendar year. So it's not like, oh, blow it all up. It's all been terrible and everything. Is there something, because when the tush push, like when they're in rhythm and then they just get to 3rd and 1 and they run the push, and if they need to do it on 4th and 1, they do it. And it's like, that's the Eagles' rhythm. But when they're not in rhythm, or they try to get out of that, or they have to go hurry up, because they screwed it up at the end of the half too. There was no sense of urgency. Is there something about this slower style of play that then interjects itself into regular plays? Because I'm talking like Hurts, he looks like he's playing, just like a slow drop back, coming out of the shotgun and wait for those long developing routes. Like, there's not a sense of urgency and tempo with the regular Eagles offense. And I wonder, does that connect with the fact that they play this service academy level of speed because they get to the push and the short yardage? Like, is there anything connected there is what I'm trying to figure out.
They have now become a team. They have a negative point differential for the season. If
Uh-oh.
they're 4-2, their only 2 losses are the last 2 weeks, but this game took them below net 0 in terms of point differential for the year. Like, it hasn't been right this season. It's been okay because they've won the games up until now, but it hasn't looked right all year long. The Eagles are a fascinating team now because in the last sort of 3.5 years or 3 and a bit years, we've got Super Bowl run. We've got total collapse to the degree that Sirianni basically had to get summoned into the building and explain how he was going to get out of this and why he shouldn't be fired. He did that well enough. And then the next year they went to and won the Super Bowl and absolutely crushed the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. And then the start of this year kind of looks like the ass end of 2023. So you've got this wild lurching between like really good, dominant looking team, bizarre like stallings or collapses of the same team, essentially, and then back again to looking amazing, and now back to somewhere in that bad end of things. Now, obviously, look, they're 4-2. It's not crisis mode or anything, but this looks a lot more like the funky Eagles where it felt wrong, even if they were going to get to the playoffs. And who knows, maybe once they get there, they'll just snap back into gear, and it didn't, right? This looks more like that than it looked like last year's dominant Super Bowl team.
Yeah, and look, I thought their defense has still been pretty good. I mean, it's been good, more good than bad when it comes to their defense this year. They were missing Quinyon Mitchell. They were missing Jalen Carter, who, by the way, was a rap sheet saying he wasn't going to risk it on that turf, which is fascinating. Like, would Jalen Carter have played if this was anywhere else? It comes back to the MetLife turf. Meanwhile, Scataboo's just doing backflips on the turf. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, right? If anybody's afraid, if anybody in the Giants is afraid of the turf, Scataboo will take care of it. We're going to start the whole Scataboo mythology here. Like Mike Allstott wears Camp Scataboo pajamas, and we'll just get that going because that dude's amazing. But yeah, just to finish the Eagles thing, my concern coming in which was slight, right? We were like, we got to nitpick the Super Bowl champion Eagles. They still have one of the best teams. Defensive line depth, and then more turnover on the offensive line for the second straight year. They had been mitigating that year over year. I do think the defensive line depth has caught up a little bit. They lost Milton Williams. They lost Josh Sweat. They still have good players there, but they're the same good players that they had last year. Like, you're missing two of those good players and asking more. So the depth took a hit on both lines of scrimmage. And then I think whatever's going on with the offense and those lulls, it's really tough to pinpoint the what, except you see it and it's like, this just looks awful. And they have 5 straight 3-and-outs, or 4 straight 3-and-outs and a pick. And it's just a rough look right now.
It feels less like the depth on the defensive line is the concern. It's more the star power that's got, particularly, I mean, obviously when you're missing Jalen Carter, he's the best player they have on that defensive line. He's not there. That's going to be a major factor. But previously, you had like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 guys that were like genuine elite pass rushers that were tearing people to bits. And you had all this depth where they could go 7 guys deep and, everyone get a bit of pressure. Now I think you still got the 7 guys deep. It's just that it's only really Jalen Carter who's capable of completely taking over and dominating and crushing people. And he wasn't playing in this game. I think it's the high end that's actually suffered rather than the depth that they've got. But I think that is a factor. Also, the secondary cornerback 2 is an issue. Like, they've got Quinyon Mitchell, and again, Quinyon goes down in this game, so that's a huge factor. Now you're down to cornerback 2 and cornerback 3 playing out wide, and Cooper DeJean doing his bit, but that's kind of a problem as well. So like each little flaw, we were a bit concerned about the offensive line now having to find a new starter. Well, again, Landon Dickerson's down, so each area where they had like a tiny chink in the armor, like someone has jammed a pickaxe into that and wedged it wide open, and suddenly those are much bigger cracks than they were.
Someone in the chat asks, one of us, he said, one of you were really high on Scataboo before the draft. So I was really high on Scataboo before the draft, and you liked him as well. And then you just, in our season preview show for the NFC East, was just like, I think Cam Scataboo's got the best chance of being a top 5 runner in the NFL, rushing yards wise. As of right now, Sam, he's got an extra game than everyone else. He's up to 10th in the NFL. And I was like, I love Cam Scataboo. You're not going to love him more than me, but that's crazy. That's crazy to think that he could be a top 5 runner. Well, not if they're going to give him 28 carries a game with this Jackson Dart offense. You might be right. I can't wait to play that sound clip when Scataboo hits,
and 3 touchdowns. Yards. I'll claim it. Whichever stat gets me to the top 5, I'll claim that stat.
5 touchdowns this year now for Scat, just running. I think does he have one out of the backfield as well? Anyway, we were both pretty high on Cam Scataboo. I think teams made mistakes passing on him. There was a lot of 4th-round running backs. I would have taken Scataboo a little bit higher. But I wanted to touch on the concussion thing, too. Like, Jackson Dart gets hit, goes into the blue tent, and they show Brian Daboll yelling at the presumed third-party objective neurologist, right? You and I have experience in the blue tent, Sam. We took a stadium tour to get into the blue tent so that we can react like this. Because there were people going in. Everybody's going in and out. Everybody's asking, how many people fit in the blue tent? How do they do all this? We've been in there. We could speak from experience, Sam. What's it like in there?
I mean, first of all, I'm pretty sure, like, coach is not supposed to be anywhere near the blue tent.
No, not at all.
There seems to be significant protocol violated there. First of all, by Daboll, and then by Scataboo, which I think is less problematic. It's just Scataboo. Like, he's going to be able to get away with whatever he wants over the course of his career, right? It doesn't matter if it's legal. It doesn't matter if it's allowed. Scataboo can do whatever. It's just Scataboo. You can't legislate for that, right? He's going to walk his way into the blue tent, whether or not he's supposed to be there, and you might just have to throw him out. Daboll, though, shouldn't have been anywhere near the blue tent.
No, he got caught on camera on a national TV game yelling at the objective third-party neurologist. I'm assuming that's who that is. Like, who else is he going to yell at? It's probably
might be his own doctor.
Might be his own doctor, but like, that's
either way,
not.
Listen, can't be yelling at the medical guys.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I should, because I'm doing what I hate.
What you hate.
I'm doing what I hate. He could have been saying, if he's cleared, tell me quicker.
That's
right?
Right? That's what Herb Street speculated on the broadcast. Like, he's saying if he can come back, Like,
Do it
why is he
right.
not out here already?
Do it now. I have to watch Russell Wilson
Right.
miscommunicate with Jalen Hyatt and miss him by 20 yards. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to lose. Like, I've got my job on the line. My kid's out here balling. Jackson, he brings me to tears every time he runs for a first down and lowers his head. I don't want to lose that. We got to get him back out there. So I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, Daboll's yelling this and that. Like, I don't want to be that guy. But it's not like 30 years ago where the coach can go to the doctor and, strong arm players into playing. Like, it is all third party, just so everybody knows. It is all outside of the team's control, whether or not a guy clears concussion protocol and comes in. And if there's any hint of him not passing protocol, they take him to the locker room, do further testing, and then he could get cleared and come back. But it's usually not a good sign when you go back to the locker room. Either way, Dart came back in. We only got to see Russ for the one pass, and Dart was back and firing everybody up and ready to go.
Again, I feel kind of bad for Russ. Like, as much as, look, he's kind of corny and a bit of a human bummer, but that was clearly some kind of miscommunication, right? Like, I'm pretty sure he expected Hyatt to hook up with the first down marker, and instead Hyatt just keeps running. And so the ball's like 15 yards short of him into the dirt. And immediately the crowd is just like booing Russ, like, get him out of here. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he didn't miss him by 15 yards. We know football, Sam. Of course you don't miss a guy by 15 yards. It's a miscommunication.
But it's like, obviously you want the rookie back in, but like, that wasn't really Russ's fault. Like, it wasn't as bad as it looked.
That was probably on Hyatt. Hyatt didn't have a catch coming into the game.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's, if we're talking, like, there's something to elevating your teammates and getting the most out of them.
Yeah.
Russ has had element. He did that a lot for a lot of his career, but for whatever reason, Dart's doing it right now. He's getting Lil Jordan, who is 6'4". We had to say 6'4", Lil Jordan Humphrey. He's getting him 4 catches for 55. He's getting Jalen Hyatt catching the ball sometimes. He's getting everybody involved. Doesn't matter. We don't have Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton. Who cares? I'm Jackson Dart. We'll bring everybody to the promised land. That's what happened tonight on Thursday Night Football.
Certainly this game. Whether or not it'll happen, every game is up for debate. But this game, that's what he did.
So the other thing, one thing, what else do I hate, Sam? I hate when division rivals play each other 2 out of the next 3 weeks. And guess what?
Oh, we got this game coming up again?
Yes. 2 weeks from now. They played each other 2 out of 3 weeks 2 years ago. And it was in the 23 season, it was 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the season. So it was right at the end. They're going to be done playing each other after they play again on October 26th in Philadelphia, 1:00 game. So the Giants have to go to Denver this week or next week. They get this little mini bye. Then they go to Denver in week 7. Then they're at Philadelphia in week 8. So when we started the season, we were like, man, they could be 1-7, 2-8 or whatever tough stretch. They're sitting here at 2-4, 2 out of the last 3 with Jackson Dart. So we get to see each other. They will see each other again. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Eagles respond, just generally how the Eagles respond to this whole thing, because we referenced the 23 thing, worst collapse in NFL history. They're like the worst playoff team I've ever seen. I don't think they're like that. I don't think they're that bad, but they got some things to figure out in Philadelphia. And, congrats and kudos to the Giants. You get something to build upon here.
It's only a 2-game slide for Philadelphia. It's clearly not a crisis yet, but it will be interesting to see how they handle it, because what was so remarkable about that 2023 collapse is that they could not pull themselves out of that. Like, no matter what they did, and they changed a lot. Like, they pulled a lot of levers to try and get out of that funk, and nothing did anything. In fact, if anything, it made it worse. So it will be interesting to see, okay, we're wobbling again for the first time really since that point. What happens? What do we do now? Can we arrest this? Can we go back? Was this just a blip? Or is this the start of the rot again?
And as Reggie in the chat mentions, the Commanders are looking good. I was talking up the Cowboys today because I think their offense looks fantastic. Their defense, I think, should be better. Like, it's tough NFC East here. Yeah, Eagles might have a tough run of it here. I'm not ready to bury the Eagles, but not looking good right now after Thursday Night Football, or in Philadelphia generally, because the Phillies have also been eliminated, Sam. I know that. That means a lot to you. Hit the subscribe button, please, and thank you. And if you want to join and become members, it's all there. We've got the 3 membership tiers. You can join, have some fun. We're going to have a members-only watch-along coming up very, very soon that we'll be announcing shortly. You just get extra perks here on Check the Mic. And if you didn't check out our preview show where we picked the Eagles, you could do that as well. We were very wrong about that one game, but I'm sure the other games we got perfectly. So check out the review show from earlier today. Thanks to everybody for tuning in.